Well, I'm here with David Evans, the founder of Matilda's Planet, and I know there's a lovely story behind your company, David, so tell me all about it.
Well, if you've got children and they tell you what to do, you have to do it eventually. So the wonderful Matilda and I were in London. She was about 8 years old, and I took her to see the dinosaur exhibition. And we travelled in London by all means of transport possible. At the end of the day, she said to me, "Why is the air so yucky?" As only kids will do. And on Sunday after that particular visit, we had the grandparents round, and she decided to tell her grandfather that I was going to save the planet. So once your daughter gives you an instruction, you have to do it. So I went in search of inventors and ideas and gave it the name Matilda's Planet.
And here we are today. How many years on?
It's 8 years now. Time flies when you're getting old. So she's still telling me what to do, as all my children do. But what we're trying to do is something really important, I think. We are literally trying to save the planet one house at a time.
So how are you doing that then?
Well, I must have seen loads of inventors, some of which I backed with my hard-earned money, some of which were impossible because they look too freaky. If ever you're in London and you look above the top of the Vauxhall Tower, you'll find Matilda's turbine on top. It's called Matilda's Pegasus. It was the first one we built. So we built turbines, we built energy conservation. But my big interest is for the people who live in houses that in many cases were built almost 150 years ago. And we're trying to reduce the amount of energy they use. We can reduce it by 50%, which to me is a huge benefit to them as individuals and a huge benefit to society. So,
of course it is. I mean, that doesn't sound like a mean task at all. So how are you going about that? Tell me the sort of main products that you've got here today at Construction Week.
The first one, it was again named by Matilda. When I described it, she said, "Oh, Daddy, it's a blanket." Okay, fine. So we called it Matilda's Blanket. The blanket has a very simple model. Most houses, particularly the solid wall houses, are not properly insulated at the wall level. So what you don't want is construction guys coming and make a mess of your house. So we built effectively a kit form wall system. So we go and measure it, we send it to one of my factories, and I'm building more and more of them to give local employment. And then the factory delivers it quite close by to the house, and it's fitted within a day a room. So in a week we can do a whole house.
Well, that's quite incredible because normally, I guess traditionally, the homeowners would have to be uprooted, they'd have to move out for a couple of weeks because of the mess and the danger of what was going on, whereas this removes all of that completely.
Well, we've done 3,000 different homes around the country, huge apartment blocks in Glasgow, what I call Coronation Street in Manchester, no fines houses, virtually every type you can name. And we have a 99.99% credibility, literally, that works every time.
Fabulous, you can't argue with that. Well, before we move on, let's just look at it, because this is actually what you're talking about, isn't it? So just talk me through that quickly.
You have to imagine for a moment that what we're doing is we're producing a wall in large strips, and they're brought together like that and put under compression. So they become as solid as anything. Now, the important thing for the homeowner is this particular surface is virtually unbreakable. If you hit it with a hammer 50 times, it won't break. So it will last forever. And we actually give it a 25-year guarantee, which is very unusual for anything these days. So
it really is ahead of its game, this product.
And it's got all the things you need the permissions you need from the rather complex life called building and construction. But we have a lot of passionate supporters, particularly the people who've benefited from it.
And loads of them by the sound of it. Right, let's pop that down then and move down this way, and then you can show me the next trick you have up your sleeve. Come this way. Oops, sorry. Now, this may look like I'm just checking my hair in any old mirror, but I'm not, am I, David? Tell me about this. I can feel the heat already, and it's not coming from you.
Well, sometimes it is. One of the great things about life is you observe something simple. And, when we go out in the sunshine, we feel warmth. And sometimes we get suntanned. The suntan bit comes from ultraviolet, but the warmth comes from infrared. So I'm standing beside a panel which is making us warm, but it isn't wasting its warmth on the air. And that's very special. And what more, we've made them elegant and pleasant to look at. So some of them are mirrors and some of them are black panels. You can literally do anything you like with them, but they are controllable. So for example, you can have them commanded to switch off as you leave the room. So we're trying to control the amount of heat. So if you compare this to some of the more traditional electric heating methods, it costs half as much to heat you and me as it will with other methods. So again, we're saving money, we're saving energy, and that is my principal goal.
Really, this is quite a brand new heating solution. I mean, I've never heard of this before. We're going to see this more and more in homes.
Well, I hope so. We've certainly got high hopes of it. We've got a lot of people testing it out. We've got universities testing it out for student accommodation, because it's quite clearly, what you don't want is students leaving the room and leaving the heating on. So this will switch it off automatically. So there are lots of virtues, but we will keep on pressing for newer and fresher ideas, some of which I have to park for a while because all of this is coming out of my personal fortune to build them. But a great thing.
Well, before I overheat next to the panel, which if it could give me a suntan would be absolutely perfect. So what's the sort of final thing you want to talk to me about?
Well, I suppose we've all been listening over the last weeks or so to a very smart young lady from Sweden telling us we've got to save the planet. And my daughter told me that 8 years ago. And unless we all take it seriously, we are going to be in a terrible position. So anything anyone can do, the smallest of actions, the smallest of changes in the way they behave, it's going to help us, you, your children, my grandchildren, who I have many of those. So.
Of course it is. And does Matilda realise what sort of impact she's had on this and how she literally lit that flame for you?
Well, she nags me. That's probably enough, isn't it?
Hey, I can tell you this, as a daughter, you never stop nagging your dad. Never. Well, thank you so much for talking us through this. And
Thanks for coming on.
no, absolutely. Good luck with the rest of it. And you're around for the whole time here.
Apparently. I do as I'm told now, because I'm 72 in November and I've got...
I don't believe that.
That's true. Yes.
Well, you're looking very good on it. You're looking very...
It's all this, isn't it? Yeah.
It is. Well, keeping those grey cells moving keeps you young, doesn't it?
One thing I have missed, only because I'm being waved at, last 3 years I've been trying to persuade the government about the question of indoor air quality. Most people think, oh, well, don't go outside, it's horrible and smelly. Actually, your indoor air is more dangerous. So we've spent a great deal of time and no small amount of money persuading the government and commissioning medical studies to demonstrate that if you have a child at home, indeed yourself, you could be in a place which is 6 or 7 times more toxic than the air outside.
We see
We've created a thing called Airtopia, which is an analytical system, and all of a sudden everyone wants to talk to us.
Yeah, but it's important. And the thing is, we think it's all the fumes and the nasties outside, don't we? But actually, whether it's cleaning products or makeup or other things in your home, they can actually be doing an even worse job.
Well, it's called the sort of law of unintended consequences. We think it's okay because it smells nice, but actually it might not be very pleasant for you. But there are many, many dangers exuded from the simplest things. For example, if you buy a brand new pillow and it's in a plastic bag, when you burst the plastic bag, it releases formaldehyde, which is a carcinogenic. So, be careful what you do. And we're trying to get people educated by giving them a test. And that's going like a storm now.
So has there been quite a bit of buzz around this so far at the show?
There is, yeah, quite a lot, yeah.
Brilliant. Well, long may it continue. Well, thank you very much for having a chat.
Thank you for inviting me to. It's great.
Not at all. And let's just sit back and watch how Matilda's planet is going to help continue to make our planet a better place. Thank you.
Thank you very much.